but go out with a blonde. Cause you're just another girl, well, that's what you are. You're just another girl, pretty but not quite too smart, not smarter than me. Not smarter than me. Okay, we're gonna end this shit with a little Yardbird.
Ja, kan hända tycker någon att man bara borde...
När han spelar vilken roll?
So I hope this isn't going to be one of those boring interviews about drugs.
Pardon?
I hope this isn't going to be one of those boring interviews about drugs.
You don't like to talk about it?
I mean, I think enough's been said.
Forget about it. It's the best, right?
Of them. Not too many like him exist anymore. You know, it just brings back memories of what once was. You know, music's all big business now, and he's the truth. He's what exists.
Have you ever regretted that we started with drugs?
I've regretted it. No.
New York har ett egendomligt sug. New York kan skärma och förföra, våldta och massakrera. Johnny Thunders är född i New York, formad av New York. Här hade han sina vänner, här har han sin publik. Men vad ser publiken i Johnny Thunders? Jag gillar Johnny för att han är knarkare, säger en i den här filmen. Johnnys personliga problem skiter väl jag i, säger en annan. Johnny är en av de sista, säger en tjej. De flesta har försvunnit eller dött, säger hon, och verkar tycka att det är jättehäftigt. Om Johnny knarkar ihjäl sig så kommer de här människorna förmodligen att skryta med att de var på hans sista konsert, eller näst sista. Johnny är musiker och poet. Han klagar på att ingen egentligen lyssnar på vad han har att säga. Hans drogade publik tycks tro att de är på gladiatorspel. Någon ska dö. Och mönstret sprider sig.
Grew up with just my mother and my sister. And, you know, I had a fight for every inch that you, every notch you got on your gun, I guess I could say.
Do you remember your dreams for the future when you were, say, 10, 15 years old?
I was going to become a baseball player, but I made the varsity baseball team when I was a freshman in high school. And they told me either cut your hair or you can't be on the baseball team, so I left school, quit school, and started my own business, making money, and started playing guitar.
And which were your dreams as a rock musician at that time?
Well, the dreams were, you know, to make the kids dance, you know. That's the only reason I'm in this business, to make kids happy and make kids dance.
He's so fabulous. Johnny thunders because he's fabulous. This is Edie, what's great about him?
His skin.
His crooks.
His profile.
His crooks. He has the best crooks in the business.
That's why?
Crooks.
He does.
Crook of your arm.
He has a nice profile. He's fabulous. It's fabulous, too.
Yeah, I like junkies.
I was already in my 20s when I met Johnny. He come from Queens. And me and Johnny met, and Syl, and then David and Arthur, and then we formed the Dolls.
Do you remember when you first got in contact with drugs?
Pretty late in life, actually. That whole drug era in the late 60s, for some reason, even though most kids my age were getting into drugs, I never got into it, really. Not even smoking pot, not drinking, no hard drugs. But it seemed like after it was all over, and I was already in my late 20s, 27, 28 already, and it was after the Dolls even were over, I started experimenting with drugs, and unfortunately with the wrong kind of drugs, real hardcore, addicting drugs like heroin. And me and Johnny sort of got into that at first for a while.
At the same time, or had he been on it for a longer time?
No, not really. Like I said, very late in life, and but it's such an addictive drug. It was a little too late before we found out enough information about it, before we realized what we were getting into. It was much too late.
Have you seen any of your younger friends, musicians, start with drugs?
Yeah, I see a lot of it.
What do you do when you see it?
Well, I do the best I can. I mean, I can't do too much for everybody because I don't know everybody. But anybody I know or see getting into it, I'll at least give them my opinion. Maybe if they respect me enough, at least through the music, maybe they'll realize or think I know what I'm talking about. Maybe it'll help, you know. I think some people I've talked to have listened to me and have been lucky enough to learn a lot about drugs. See, that's my misfortune. I knew nothing about drugs and what it could do. I ignored it. I just didn't have the knowledge of it, you know.
What impact do you think the drug-addicted artist has on his audience, his public?
That's kind of varies, I guess. You know, some people might look at it as a romantic type of thing, where they say, "Wow, I guess they're that good because they're on drugs." But that is definitely not so. I think a musician that just sticks to his art and spends more time on that than he does on drugs or anything else has more chance of creating a lot more, you know. I think drugs really do interfere with your creativity. I know it has with me. I know it has with people I know who are on drugs.
Johnny Thunders, for example.
Yes, Johnny. He's done much better when we were younger. We've got a lot more accomplished without drugs than we have with drugs. But, I mean, we know that now, you know, and he knows it. I think he just needs a little bit more of a chance than maybe I had or something.
Hey, the junk don't affect him. The junk don't affect him. You can quote him on that.
What can I say? The guy's a doll.
Quote him on that.
He's consistent. I always see him. Sometimes he puts on a good show. Sometimes it's not so good, but you can always count on his music to be good. That's why he's good, because his music is good.
Most every gig I go to, there's all kinds of young kids, all kinds of people coming in trying to turn you on with drugs and stuff like that.
Trying to turn you on?
Well, a lot of people show up at gigs with drugs, maybe to impress you, to set up some kind of a relationship with you. You know, they think that's the way to get your attention, which it's not. They don't know that. I do. I've been doing it for 22 some odd years. I've been playing, you know. So I'm used to this. They're not used to it. Most of these kids, it's new to them. They don't realize that all you got to do is sit down and talk normal to make friends. But as long as it's up to myself. It's up to each individual what they want to do.
Is it really? Isn't it up to me if you take heavy drugs?
Is it up to you if I take them?
Yeah. Is it? It's a question.
I don't know. You answer it. I don't know. I don't know. It's up to myself what I want to do with my life, you know. But from what I see, I think drugs interfere with a person's creativity. You know, especially, maybe at the beginning, the person may not realize it. They may think it gets them into it.
Is it my business if you take heavy drugs? Yeah, I mean, the average man on the street, is it his business if some musicians or teenage idols take heavy drugs?
I mean, it is. It's his business, unless he wants to make it his business. It's up to him if he wants to.
As long as he plays good music, I don't care what he does in his personal life, you know? It's none of my business.
I mean, I play music, that's what I do. You know, I'm not a professional drug taker. I don't think.
The last time I saw him, he was up in the dressing room at Max's Kansas City. He was shooting ice water and couldn't make the show. And I hope he makes it on stage tonight. And she sounded pretty good, but I both thought he was real good. That's about it, I guess. Music's all right. It's real good New York style rock and roll. Not a lot of people doing that anymore. Most of them are dead or they sold out. But it's like the last sort of New York band that's left, you know. It's honest and sort of, he's a drug addict. He doesn't pretend he's anything else but a drug addict, you know. Doesn't make sense for his honesty.
Do you remember when you started with drugs?
Drugs, yeah.
Tell me about it. How did you start?
I started smoking pot. I guess the regular kids do. And got into heavier things. I guess it's a hard thing to get out of once you start.
Do you remember when you started shooting?
Yeah.
Do you remember why you started?
And there was nothing to escape from or nothing like that. There was no problems like a lot of kids start because they, you know, they're bored and lonely and, you know, it makes them feel like they're alive, I guess. Just did it for having fun.
What do you think about that nowadays?
I think it was, has a lot to do with the way people look at me and think of me. But, I mean, I would never, first of all, turn anyone on to drugs. I think it's, you know, it's a hard thing to handle, you know. And once you get into it, it's really rough to get out of.
What would you do if you saw a young kid in your band trying to start shooting? Would you do anything about it?
Well, I'm not one, you know, I can't preach to anyone because I'm not one to speak. You know, I've always told everyone that's started doing it, you know, they don't know what they're in for, you know. It's not, you know, an easy life.
How would you say it has affected your mind and your music?
My mind?
Yeah.
I don't listen to anything to my mind or my music. Because, you know, I played rock and roll before I started taking drugs and play rock and roll now.
Would you have been a better rock and roll musician if you hadn't started with drugs?
I don't know if I would have been better, but I would have been successful a long time ago.
Successful in what terms?
Having a lot of money.
But that's not why you play.
No.
But still I mean,
it helps. You know.
Yeah. But you wanted to get out of the drugs?
I've never ever wanted really to stop.
What's going to happen to you?
I don't know what's going to happen to you.
But I don't take drugs.
So, you get hit by a car when you cross the street. I mean, you know, if something's going to happen to you, it's going to happen. You know, that's the way life goes. You know, you can't predict the future.
So you don't have a will to get rid of the drugs for yourself?
I don't find them as a major problem for me.
impact do you think a drug addict artist has on his audience?
I mean, I think every artist that ever said something to the people that they listen to, you know, was hooked on something, I'm sure. Anybody good, at least.
So you don't feel any sort of responsibility for the young kids not to use dope?
I mean, I'm not a preacher. I'm just being myself and doing what I do.
You were talking about your future dreams when you were 10, 15. What about your future dreams right now?
My dreams right now?
Yeah.
A lot of dreams. To get away from society, get an island somewhere, and just live there.
That would mean you...
So many people, you know, thinking they know what I am and what I'm trying to do, and nobody knows what I am or what I want to be and what I want to say. Nobody really listens.
That makes you want to just leave?
Yeah.
That means you won't play or...
I still make records.
But you want to go away from everything?
Yeah. For a while.
To find what?
Maybe myself.
Do you have any artistic dreams for the future?
Just to make kids listen to what I'm saying, you know, listen to the words, find out that I have a heart and